So how to land your first data job in 2026. One of the things that I've said in the past, and I'm going to say again, networking is still key. If you're not networking, especially professionally, then you're going to miss out on opportunities that won't be posted or advertised on any of the job sites. The next thing is you also need to somehow stand out on LinkedIn. Now I know a lot of people aren't comfortable, especially when you're early in your career or you've just started off in your career, posting on LinkedIn. But so if you're not confident to post on LinkedIn, at least comment on some of the people that you who work in companies that you'd like to work in. And what that really shows is that if you start commenting, that it shows that you have some knowledge in the area and you've got an opinion. People do like data analysts and data scientists who actually have an opinion, who have a viewpoint, and it doesn't have to be the right viewpoint, it just needs to be a viewpoint. A caveat of that is obviously don't go too controversial or too contentious. Try and keep it neutral, try and keep it polite, respectful and professional above all. In 2026, what you'll find is that obviously a lot of organizations now have remote working and they're trying to get people back in the office. Now what happens is when people are physically back in the office, the company may organize events or conferences. So for example, you might find that some of these big consultancies, they organize events and conferences where they invite a whole host of people, and see if you can get yourself on those events. Therefore you can actually interact and engage with people in real life. If those companies don't actually do events, let's say they're some kind of product facing or consumer facing company, they will have vendors, okay? So they may be using certain technologies like Microsoft Power BI or Tableau or Amazon. They may be using certain technology, and those vendors then organize events, and those companies or people from those companies may attend those events, and you'll see them posting on LinkedIn. They'll be saying, oh, I'm going to AWS whatever, or I'm going to Big Data London, or whatever they're going to, okay? So you need to make sure that you're at those events and you go and find those people. So you might find they're posting things on LinkedIn saying, I'm going to this event, and you might just reply and say, oh great, I'm coming to this event, it'd be great to connect. And you would be surprised how many people would like to connect with you. Now the other thing is, a lot of like the big companies, they get invited to those events to present how they've been using the technologies that the vendor is organizing the event, and therefore try and go to those speeches, okay? So you'll find that those people from those companies are speaking. Go to those speeches, listen to the talk, and then try and approach them and have an opinion about what they said. The other thing is obviously when you're trying to network with people, you've got to reach out to them. So that could be on LinkedIn, could be on email, or whatever communication you have with them. But here persistence is the key. People sort of send one message and then they give up, okay? You've got to send 3 or 4 messages, okay? If after 3 or 4 messages they haven't responded, then give it a break. Give it a break for 3-4 months, and then go back again and persist with that. And if you're doing loads of people at the same time, you'll find that you've got a rhythm going, and after 3 or 4 messages, if someone hasn't responded, you're focusing on other people. Give that person a few months of gap of not communicating with them, and then pick it up again. I will tell you this: when people ignore you, it's not because when people don't respond, it's not because they're ignoring you. It could be that they're busy at that time. So what you want to do is make sure that you're persistent in your communication with them, or in communicating with them, so that when they are not busy, they'll get your message and they'll reply. I can't tell you the number of times I've received emails or LinkedIn messages from people who want help or advice on mentorship, and I've just been busy at the time. I've just not had the chance to reply to their messages or emails or LinkedIn messages. And then what's happened is when I'm not busy, I forget about them. I only see the messages that come in at that time, and I respond to them. So those people actually do miss out. So if they'd have continued messaging me, or left a gap and then messaged me, I might have responded to them when I was less so busy. So that's what you've got to understand. People could be busy at that time, so they're not ignoring you deliberately, just that they could be busy. So but persistence is key, and with anything you'll find that is one of the successes to achieving what you want to do. One of the things that surprises me though actually is when people do reply, or for example when I reply to people's messages and I say, oh, thanks for reaching out, happy to help if I can, their response is very haphazard, or it's unprepared. So what you need to do is, before you reach out to anyone, make sure you know what you're going to respond if they reply. Okay, so have your script, know what you're going to say. So when someone replies, you can straight away go, here's my script, this is why I communicate with them, this is what I'm going to say to them. So have your script of why you reached out to someone, because you're networking, because you're trying to connect up, to grow your network, to look for a job, to make sure that you understand what's going on in the landscape, the data landscape, or the data ecosystem, so that you're prepared fully for applying for roles. So another thing you need to consider is that when you reach out to people and let's say they respond, you've practiced what you're going to say to them, but in that communication that you have with them, you've got to make sure that you are positioning yourself for the role that you think that they may have. So for example, you're probably reaching out to someone who's advertised for a role, or you've heard that that company hires a certain type of person or a certain type of data analyst or data scientist, and you want to see if they've got any open position. So when that person replies and you've got your curated response, make sure in that response you're positioning yourself for that role. So what you don't want to do is ask directly for the role. You just want to provide some information about yourself, but you're providing the kind of information that makes you perfect for that role. And then what you might find is that they proactively go, oh, hang on, we've got a role that would be great for you, why not apply for it? So therefore it looks as though they have offered that role, offered you the opportunity to apply for that role, rather than you saying, I heard you got a role and I'd like to apply for it. They've already connected in their head that you won't be a good fit for that role, so that's why they volunteered that information. So make sure that when you're rehearsing how you're going to reply, that you are positioning yourself for the role that you think that they're going to be hiring for. Don't just reply with random stuff about yourself. Make sure it's all focused, because don't forget, people receiving the information from you, the people who you're trying to network with, they've got limited time, they've got limited attention for you if they've got other things to do. So you need to make sure that you put yourself in the best light, and also that the skills and experience and knowledge that you're putting forward matches what they could be potentially hiring for. So that's my advice for getting a job in, especially your first data analyst job in 2026.